guys, welcome back to the studio for another studio session with me. Studio session. So last time we spoke, we talked about drums, bass, and today we're gonna talk a little bit more about melody and soundscaping. I'm gonna tell a little bit about what synths to use, so what synths you could use. But anyway, welcome back, and let's start. Right, so this is what we made last time. So a very simple track consisting of a kick, bass line, a clap and a hi-hat and a little bit of percussion. And well, today we're going to add a little bit more of a melody to it. So we're going to search for a synth to do it. And I'm actually going to use a very standard synth. It's actually a sampler, and it has like a small test tone like this. And well, actually, I'm just gonna make a small melody using this synth. It's a very harmonic waveform. It's called a sinus. So we're gonna play the track. I'm gonna see what to play. So we played the bass line on a G note. So I'm gonna use the same note for the melody. Okay, so that's very basic. That's very simple actually. It's more like an addition to the production. So let's record that part. So we now recorded it, but it's a little bit too simple. So we're going to add a tone to it, so it makes it a little bit more interesting. So before I do that, I'm going to copy everything a few times. So now we got a bigger part. So it's very easy, very simple. And let's see if we can add something to that. Okay, so that's very simple as well, but let's record that. Okay, so well, for now got a very small element added to that. So it's a very simple melody. So let's merge everything and set the blocks right. Alright, that's the 24th note. So we now got a very simple melody, and obviously the sound isn't exactly what we want, but first we're going to add a small element to it, and that's a small delay. And I'm actually going to use the same, it's actually a verb I'm using right now, and it makes it a little bit more warmer and gives it a little bit more of an effect to it. Okay, so we got a small effect to it, but obviously the sound isn't too good. So I'm going to use a synthesizer, let's see which one. I'm going to use the Predator of Rob Pape. It's actually a really cool synthesizer. It's quite standard, but it has 3 oscillators. It's a really nice synth to work with. So okay, we've got the synth, and let's make a sound. Okay, that's not exactly what we want, but let's search for the right sound. Let's see. No. Okay, well, this actually could be a good. Okay, so yeah. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we got a melody, and we're gonna set the melody a little bit over here, so it's playing at itself. Okay, so we're gonna add more of a sub layer to that. So I'm gonna get back to my sampler, and I'm gonna use a more like a groove bass for just for the underlayer, just to have I have a reference point to work with. So all right. Okay, so now we've got a bass line, and I'm gonna play like a small melody just underneath the melody, the top layer. Okay, so let's see. So I'm gonna use the G note again. Okay, that didn't really go exactly as planned, so obviously we're gonna go back to the matrix scheme. And actually, if you want to have a closer look, this is actually what I'm doing when I'm working the blocks. So this is what I just played, and it's not set exactly right to the beats. So I'm gonna set everything straight using quantize. So let's see, this one needs to be over here. Right, so let's mute that part. So now we only have like a sub-layer bass, and we can add a synth to that one. So I'm gonna go to another track. This one can go away. And I'm gonna load, let's see, yeah, I'm gonna load a new synth by Spectrasonics. It's called the Omnisphere. It's absolutely amazing, to be honest. It has everything in it what it needs for a synth. It has a real analog sound. It sounds really warm, and there's a lot of cool tricks you can do with it as well. But let's use it for a string. I'm gonna use a pad. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So I got the groove bass and the underlayers playing a melody, and I'm gonna create like chords that follow that underlayer. So let's see. I think, yeah, that's a melody we could use. So we're gonna set the block straight. Okay. Okay, so I think they're all good now. Okay, so we've got a small melody, and underneath that we created a kind of like a sub layer, and on top of that we added some strings. And I used two soft synths actually today. That's the Predator by Rob Papen and the Spectrasonics Omnisphere. I'm going to tell a little bit more about that. Well, the Predator is actually a really good synth to use. It uses the ability to actually edit sounds within the synthesizer. So if we go to this one. So this is the Predator actually, and the great thing here is you can add with 3 oscillators, and it has a really percussional sound to it. So obviously, as you could hear with the additional sounds we created, let's hear. This is a quite percussion sounding synth. So this is a really cool synth to use, and the other synth I used was the Omnisphere. This is a synth by Spectrasonics. Spectrasonics also released Trilogy stylus for more drums, and also the Atmosphere for atmospheric synth layers. And this is kind of like a combination between the Atmosphere and Trilogy. Not so much the stylus, but it has a lot of capabilities, and it has a really warm sound to it. So this is actually a really cool tip if you want to buy a soft synth. And obviously the Rob Papen Predator is actually also a really good synth. So that's it for today. So we created the drums and bass in the last episodes, and today we created a little bit more melody to that. Next time we're going to talk a little bit more about compression, also on limiting and mastering, and I'm also going to talk a little bit more about what hardware I use. And yeah, I hope to see you next time on sandervandoorn.com for a new episode. Cheers!